by week until the fateful D-Day, a light invasion preparation shaped up on a staggering scale. The 1,000,001 details took on a pattern against a backdrop of suspense and anticipation on the part of forces and civilians in Britain and jittery Germans across the Channel. Never before in the world's history has a military operation been so heralded by both sides as was the Second Front. Troops, tanks, and transport are all loaded on 4,000 ships. They put to sea to await the crucial moment. Guarding them are the guns of two mighty task forces of the combined Navy. Overhead, the Air Forces provide an invulnerable protective ceiling. Before dawn, Tuesday, June 6th, the word is given, advance. The forces of liberation move to their rendezvous with destiny. The invasion is on. Advance Guard of Freedom make their touchdown on the Normandy beaches just as the sun scatters the mists of early morning. The mighty naval bombardment has done well its job of paralyzing enemy batteries. Although the landings achieve tactical surprise, strong north winds make the business of landing equipment extremely hazardous. The much vaunted west wall crumples before our whirlwind advance. As the bridgeheads are established, supplies, armor, and reinforcements pour from the landing craft. Canadians meet considerable fire on the beaches as they work their way into the defenses. There is stiff hand-to-hand fighting in the little coast towns, but the citizen soldiers of yesterday are now a hardened mass of professional killers. They have learned and improved upon the lessons of the act. Then the prisoners start streaming back. Some of them still dazed from our terrific concentrations of fire. Rommel, with reserves taken straight from the march, launches repeated counter-thrusts. But one by one, they are fought to a standstill. Headway is made against 10 Nazi divisions. One of the enemy units, surprised on maneuvers, was composed of lads from the Hitler Youth Movement. Like their older comrades, they are glad to be out of the war. They begin to doubt the invincibility of their Fuhrer. It's a far cry from those far-off days when British troops were leaving these shores under pressure from the Nazi invader. Then it was our burned-out tanks which littered the road. Our troops who were fighting a last gallant stand for life and home. Years of grueling toil have built up a storehouse of materials which make it possible for us to force the enemy from his strong fortifications. Thanks to blood, sweat, and tears, we may now master the roads which lead to Berlin. Doesn't lose any time in looking after the feedback. D-Day iron rations are a thing of the past, with the friendly French countryside to draw from. The liberated people take kindly to our Canadians. Despite the necessary damage inflicted on the countryside through warfare, there are 100 smiles for every frown. The bridgehead deepens, on to Paris. Of this magnitude, heavy casualties are to be expected. It is good to know that during the initial stages of the invasion, casualties were extremely low. The great organization of the Army Medical Corps is ready to take care of many more wounded than claim their attention. The only complaint from the wounded lads is that they're sorry to be out of the fight. They want to be back with their comrades who are fighting forever forward, deeper into France. Prisoners, too, land on the English coast in ever-growing streams. Ours the cream of fighting power, led by the craftiest of generals. We look with sober confidence to the future. In the words of General Montgomery, we have a great and righteous cause. Let us pray that the Lord, mighty in battle, will go forward with our armies, and that his special providence will aid us in the struggle. With stout hearts and enthusiasm for the contest, let us go forward to victory. French chapel, selected as headquarters for the public relations services, comes under enemy fire. The war correspondents thought they had a nice, comfortable billet, but Jerry had the range taken. He soon livened things up with direct hits. With only 2 light casualties, the men who gather the news scramble around the blazing building to save the most precious part of their kit, their typewriters. Flash! Filtering back from the front of our victorious advance, the stream of prisoners presents many problems. Beardless youths mingle with hardy veterans of the Eastern Front. With the respect of one fighting man for another, they receive honorable treatment at our hands. French peasants with years of indignity to avenge are not so particular. Some of the prisoners are badly beaten before they can be rescued by our forces. Flash! Whenever there's a road to clear or a battered town to clean up, the call goes out for the engineer. Along they come with their vehicle of 100 uses, the bulldozer. Blazing jeeps or demolished houses are the same to this ubiquitous workhorse. Manned by experienced crews, the bulldozer keeps open the road to victory. The tide of battle flows forward from the beaches of Normandy. Forward through quaint old-world villages, leaving in its wake a strange peace. Inhabitants emerging from their havens of safety mingle with our troops. They assay the damage wrought by the relentless machines of war. Patrols move on the hunt for rations, where yesterday the chase was for grimmer spoils. Now it's a carefree moment before the next attack, when Canadian soldiers can take stock of the countryside and fortify the inner man. Like Sunday afternoon off after a hard week at the office, the lads bask in the summer sunshine. There's all the latest news to read up, experiences of action to recall, and letters to write home. The most important thing of all is rest, sleep, and then more sleep. And, of course, one must clean up a bit and get the old push bike in order, because somebody might pay a call. All visitors, however, are not welcome. When it comes to specialized pursuits like milking bossies, the city lads learn a few tricks from their farm buddies. A few years ago in sunny Saskatchewan or rural Ontario, the citizen soldiers drew pay for doing what is now great sport. When it comes to making friends, especially when the friends are handy with a needle, Johnny Canuck is right in there pitching. A solemn note surcharges scenes of rural peace. Among the poppy-studded fields of Normandy, comrades lie. Comrades whose courage makes possible the freedom which is the heritage of this lovely country. A simple tribute is paid by British soldiers and French civilians to those Canadians who won the beaches on Invasion Day. They gave their all for great principles. Principles which will bring to a united world peace and freedom. A hot cup of tea tastes good no matter where it comes from. On the drive up to tea, Canadian engineers captured a German portable kitchen. Taking a fancy to it, they present it to their cook. It immediately becomes Rommel's tea wagon, light lunches a specialty. What? No hot dogs? We'll speak to the management about this. War or no war, the Saturday night function must go on. Even if there are no tiled bathrooms, we have plenty of hot water. Empty petrol tins can be turned to some amazing uses. A Rube Goldberg dream come true is the shower bath at a brigade headquarters. The big advantage of it is that there's no bathtub to clean after using it. During the occupation, it was difficult for the people of Cherbourg to offer active resistance to the enemy. They were watched and spied upon. They were practically prisoners in their own town. There were many ways, however, in which they could demonstrate their true sympathy. In a peaceful little graveyard in adjacent fields lie the dead of Germany and the dead of the United Nations. Daily to the graves of the Allies come the women of Cherbourg. With gentle hands, they tend the flowers which grow there in profusion. Flowers symbolic of the spirit of France, fresh and radiant. German graves stand out in marked contrast. There are no flowers for remembrance, nor any evidence of loving care. The contrast bears witness to the faith of once enslaved Normandy. To Canadian units in France falls the honor of conducting the attack against Carpiquet. The little Norman town is considered to be one of the strongest points on the Caen perimeter. It is one of the keys to Caen itself. Careful planning is necessary to ensure perfect liaison with the British unit on the right flank. Their job is to invest ground south of Carpiquet. From well-prepared positions, German guns and mortars hit the Canadians with everything they've got. Their object is to smash our lines of communication before we can build up reserves for the attack. Despite their savage bombardment, troops, transport, and tanks move steadily forward to the starting point. At 5 o'clock on a misty morning, 0 hour approaches. A typical Montgomery mass of artillery is concentrated on the front. The order comes down from the operations room to open fire. Our guns open up with a devastating barrage, plowing a path of exploding shells over the town and airfield. Behind the barrage, our infantry and armor move. Smoke screens over the battlefield drift along the front, mixing with the haze from exploding shells. In the murk, visibility at times is zero. Augmenting the guns, rocket-firing typhoons dive like black meteors right on German positions. They blast with explosives at point-blank range. Heavy machine guns from wooded emplacements spurt out lines of tracers. Mortars throw in bombs at a rapid rate, softening up enemy positions. The combined weight of Canadian striking power goes all out, leaving the enemy dazed by its frightful violence. Advancing over a mile and a half of open ground, infantry, supported by armor, move into the town. An hour after commencing the attack, leading elements report from the outskirts. Shortly after, the signal comes through to headquarters. Carpiquet is taken. In the wake of battle is one of our carriers, which received a direct hit from an enemy shell. the sky, an enemy fighter is brought down. Its pilot is lucky. He bails out and lands safely. He is brought in on his way to concentration camp. Although the town is won and dazed prisoners filter back in streams, the enemy keeps up stiff resistance. A prolonged and bitter engagement takes place across the airfield to the south. Jerry counterattacks with full force, but he can't budge the Canadians. Digging themselves into their positions, they hold their ground tenaciously. All the time, a steady stream of supplies and reinforcements move up. The salvage trucks take back empty shell cases. The terrific concentration of artillery fire uses up plenty of shells, yet all salvageable material is collected for another day. Nothing useful is discarded. General Montgomery says well done after paying a visit to forward positions in Carpiquet, another glorious name on the Canadian battle roll of honor. The village of Carpiquet in Allied hands and the drive on Caen underway, Canadian infantry run into fierce resistance in the Carpiquet airfield sector. In spite of a fierce artillery barrage from army units, naval guns, and rocket-firing typhoons, the Germans hold on tenaciously for days. Entrenched in foxholes, Canadians closely engage the enemy and finally drive him from the important airfield. On the walls of what remains of the officers' mess still stand the Luftwaffe slogan by Goering and Hitler's message to his pilots. Solidly entrenched behind concrete emplacements many feet thick, the death or glory boys, Hitler's picked SS troops, are killed and captured only after a titanic struggle. With the airfield firmly in our grasp, Canadian troops join the main assault on the ancient city of Caen. Caen is an important military objective because of the strategic position it occupies. Its possession consolidates territory already held and frees the hands of the British Second Army for more open operations. Canadian troops play the leading part in one of the most massive assaults that Rommel has had to face in this war. Entering from the north, the onslaught carves its way right through Caen to the junction of the Odon and Orne rivers, due south of the town. Ruined buildings stand as evidence to the effectiveness of the naval support bombardment. The 16-inch guns of the battleship Rodney demolish entire enemy strongpoints. As the tide of battle moves forward, French civilians return to collect the salvage of their ruined homes. Life begins anew in battered Caen. Allied civil affairs detachments move in while fighting still goes on in pockets of enemy resistance. Their immediate job is to collect and distribute food to the inhabitants. Flour pours into bakeries which have been taken over to ensure a ration distribution of available commodities. The French take as well to the ration queue as do their English cousins. Though he only has rations for one, Johnny Canuck doesn't mind sharing with his allies. A site is selected for editorial offices of the Canadian Forces newspaper. Soon Normandy editions of the Maple Leaf will be rolling off the presses. Mobile wireless bands equipped with loudspeakers bring all the latest newscasts to the villagers. The focal point of interest is headquarters of the liberation movement. Men of the French resistance movement come into their own. For years, they put up a noble fight behind enemy lines, looking toward the day of liberation. Now that great day has arrived. In a simple though significant ceremony, the Cross of Lorraine is unfurled in the town square. Hearts swell with pride as civilians and military pledge anew their allegiance to those three great principles of the Republic: liberty, equality, fraternity. In Normandy, General Montgomery decorates Canadian paratroops and airborne troops. Men who drop deep into enemy territory on D-Day listen to words of praise from their chief. A difficult job, well and nobly done, brings citations to Captain Griffin of Toronto, who is awarded the Military Cross. To Captain Hanson of Westmount, Quebec, the Military Cross. To Captain Kiefer, commander of French troops of No. 3 Commando, the Military Cross. Sergeant Harvey Morgan of Montreal receives the Military Medal. To Lance Corporal Russell Geddes of Sudbury, Ontario, goes the Military Medal. And to Corporal Noville of Toronto, the Military Medal. From captured Caen, combined artillery and air bombers smash an incredible barrage against enemy positions. Guns of Allied warships miles away augment the barrage with their heavy shells. Following hard on the heels of the devastating barrage, Canadian infantry moved southward across the River Orne. Exploiting the advantage gained by using Caen as a springboard, the formations pressed the attack. From the faubourg of Vaucelles, Canadians thrust in two spearheads. One moves astride the Falaise Highway. The other follows the banks of the Orne past the junction of the Orne and the Odon. A great weight of armor is brought across Bailey bridges, hastily constructed across the Orne. The tanks move into positions to probe Rommel's wall of steel. earlier stages of the attack, the advance goes extremely well. The hail of bombs and shells has done everything expected of it. German guns and many positions were wiped out by a deluge of high explosives. The armor and infantry clean up remaining pockets of resistance. The advance takes no definite pattern, but fluctuates. Patrols bypass enemy resistance points as they reach for more forward objectives. Systems of communication tie the whole maze together. Pack wireless sets are an invaluable aid to liaison. Objective after objective is taken. Although a complete breakthrough is not achieved, advance is steady. Prisoners often clog the highway. A moment's rest is precious before the next attack begins. The phase that everyone hopes will mean the main blow against the Panzers. The blow that will smash through to Paris and beyond. For the first time in the history of the Dominion, Canada has an army formation in the field. Canadians eagerly welcome the news. Now the story can be told. Previous to Canadian troops fighting as an army, Lieutenant General Crerar moves to France. His task is to prepare for the transfer of his staff to the theater of war. Canadian Army headquarters was slated for the invasion front from the time it was established in the spring of 1942. Since last fall, the staff has worked on specific plans and preparations for the present campaign. Now is the time these plans go into operation. On board the Canadian destroyer carrying General Crerar, a church service is held. Prayers are offered up for the success of the great operations which lie ahead. With the 1st Canadian Army on the left, the 2nd British Army in the center, and the Americans on the right, the attack is launched. Under General Montgomery's supervision, the 1st Canadian Army wins its spurs in the attack against the Caen hinge, the prelude to Paris. Elements on strength of the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division march past on inspection in Normandy. After distinguishing themselves in the lines, the divisional commander takes an opportunity to congratulate some of his troops on their good work. Major General Keller inspects the men who contribute so much to the winning of the war, the infantry. Backed by all the other branches of the service, it's the Putzlager who invests the objective. All arms are organized to back up the man behind the gun who takes and holds the ground. During a rest period before the next offensive, the CO sees his command at close range. He passes on to them information regarding future plans. In this way, everybody is in the picture so that he can play his part in the great pattern which spells for the Allied nations victory.